There are 2 million people behind bars in America. For the next hour, we open the gates. Lock up.
I pray to God that somebody recognizes what's going on here. You know, we in here just rotting away, you know.
Today we have about 756 inmates serving a life sentence here at Folsom.
I'm state raised, federally funded.
We're dealing with murderers and rapists, and that's always in the back of my mind.
Treat us like slaves up in here, man.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, you know, whether you like it or not.
A lot of times these inmates just don't get along with each other. You know, they didn't get along with people on the outside, that's why they're here.
They were stomping his head. You can see he went out code 3 in the ambulance, so he's pretty messed up.
It's like you see around here, it's like this every day.
It's the way they lived on the streets, so they're living it inside the walls.
Use your imagination, and anything that you can imagine, that's probably what goes on here.
You watch horror movies? This is a horror movie.
How you doing?
Since 1880, California's Folsom State Prison has gained a reputation for violence and bloodshed. Inmates once called it the end of the world. In December of 2002, the prison's worst riot in a decade broke out, with about 100 prisoners involved. Dozens were hurt before the melee ended when a guard shot and seriously wounded a prisoner. It's graphic evidence that keeping the peace remains a challenge inside Folsom, with officers outnumbered about 90-1. In this hour, you'll see what's being done to maintain safety and how violence sometimes boils over anyway. Folsom State Prison is located in the rolling hills of Northern California, just east of Sacramento. The original structures still stand as an imposing fortress of solid granite. Up close, the first thing you notice is how old the prison looks. Little has changed about these old steel doors. Many of
Yes, looks extremely old. Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. As you can see, we're heading to Folsom State Prison in California, maximum security prison, built, as we heard, in 1880. No wonder it looks extremely old, very old and dilapidated. It is old and gloomy and miserable and violent. And many individuals have lost their lives there in Folsom State Prison.
them hung 120 years ago when the prison was still new. Walls that surround Folsom were built 30 feet into the air and 15 feet below ground to prevent tunneling. In the early years, state dignitaries were invited to the annual 4th of July activities where inmates were put on display. On most other days, violence ruled this yard where fights and stabbings were common. Even the warden was stabbed to death by a group of inmates during a riot in 1937. Originally constructed to relieve overcrowding at San Quentin State Prison, Folsom housed some of the most dangerous inmates of the time. Today, its history of a more violent time has not been forgotten.
Folsom, just the aura of this place hangs above. It's like a fog hangs over this place.
Daniel Bell is a newcomer, only on the yard for 4 months.
I mean, you're like totally in awe with the fact that you're actually here. That so many men have died and lost their lives on this very yard right here. At the very spot we're standing, I mean, you know, men have got killed, so it's like you're terrified.
No, this is my first time here. Don't like it. I don't like it.
A lot of people getting stabbed, you know. I've seen people's throats get sliced. My first night in this building behind me here, when I woke up in the morning to gunshots on the tier, you know.
You always have...
Yes, as he said, many individuals have died right there in Folsom State Prison. It's very deadly. It was back in the days, and it still is very deadly, as all prisons are. But certainly, Folsom State Prison has a certain lore to it. San Quentin, Soledad, even Pelican Bay now. Some of these prisons are notorious for the violence that they offer there on those yards. If you hit one of these yards and you do not comport yourself in a certain way, I do not just be talking here on the channel, here on the Inside Story with me, Damian Porter. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. As many of you know, I've done over 30 years of incarceration for those who may be new to the channel. I speak often about prison and my prison experience, and I'll let you know that it is a very detrimental and violent encounter, a very violent situation that you can make it out of if you comport yourself like a man. But if you flout the rules and our protocols, then yes, you're asking for trouble. These prisons they don't take any prisoners, no pun intended. They're very violent, and if you break the rules, these individuals will get up on you and take your life right there on the yard. As the brother said, many individuals, he's in awe and terrified at the same time because many individuals have died right there where he's standing. He knows the history, even though he's only been on the yard for 4 months, he knows the history of this prison.
You have a fear factor when you walk through those gates. Anybody would be lying to you if they told you that they weren't scared when they were in here.
There's not anyone who walks into Folsom that looks at those gun-tired, which looks like old European castles, that isn't scared.
David Benny Taylor is 60 years old, serving a life sentence for kidnapping and robbery. He entered Folsom Prison in 1975 when it was terrorized by sophisticated killers and gangs.
The stabbings have been numerous. Some of them have been right in front of me. And when you see a person die, it sort of makes a change in you forever. The change makes you realize how tenuous life is or how important life is, and how 1 minute you can be alive and the next minute you can be dead, and it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the warden or you can be an informant. Everything in between can be alive 1 minute, dead the next minute. That's something you learn when you see these stabbings occur around you. And some of them died. And the code requires that you act like you didn't see it.
I can recall those days vividly. We averaged anywhere from 4 to 6 gunshots a day at this prison, and you were constantly carrying a gurney with a wounded man on it. And many times, the man was dead.
Lieutenant Tom Ayers, a former Marine, has been a correctional officer at Folsom for 21 years.
When staff come in here, especially our uniformed officers, they are taught the history of this prison and the great sacrifice of people who have died here in the line of duty, and they're constantly reminded of that.
Another reminder of Folsom's grim past is the execution room.
The hanging area was right here. In the old days, what they did was they did turns. Down below is some more cells. You got these cells up here. You work your way up to the very last cell. That was the death row cell.
Over a period of 40 years, 93 men were hanged at Folsom, and the stay on death row was brief. Each condemned man waited for his turn at the gallows in tiny cells only a few feet away.
At the very last cell, day of the execution, they would come in, they would basically put metal over the doors so you could not see it. They would bring the guy out, then he was hung. The inmates in the cells could only hear the hanging, they were not allowed to see the hanging.
Hearing but not seeing what happens around you is a fact of prison life that torments prisoners even today.
It's not
torment. I'd say that is a form of torture. Can you imagine, as a regular civilian, being made to listen to someone dying? It does not matter. The death is not desensitized because of the person who was dying that you feel may deserve death or have committed a crime or is condemned or is a criminal, a thug, a gang member, whatever your take may be. It is still a human being that I believe no one has the power or authority to take this individual's life, even if this individual took 50 lives. He was wrong. You're no better by taking his life. Nevertheless, I don't want to sit in my cell and have to listen. Inmates could not see the individual being hung, but they can hear it. I don't want to hear this. I'm sure he's in there shaking against his oppressors. He's shaking against the rope, trying to save himself, trying to save his life, as many brothers were doing when we suffered the same fate. No. They were made to listen to this. That's a form of torture. These prisons back in these days, we're not talking about that long ago, by the way, were treacherous, vicious. Covered some prisons just recently where they had the firing squad, would line the individual up with a big old bazooka and fire on them and take them out. Put 100 bullets in them. My goodness. This is barbaric. And here, they're putting a rope around your neck and really? Even though you're sentenced to death, this is how you're going to kill me? People are sick. They're just as sick as the individual that they're killing.
The feel of being intimidated by another person. It's the sounds, the movements, the keys that rattle. The silence at night, the yells, the screams. If you watch horror movies, this is a horror movie right here. We live it every day.
Many of the inmates at Folsom are serving time for violent crimes. Over 700 are serving life sentences for murder. Due to the hazards presented by its archaic design, Folsom no longer qualifies as a level 4 maximum security prison. Therefore, it's been downgraded to a level 2 medium security facility.
A level 2 is only a classification score. Within 2-3 seconds, that same individual at level 2 could stab another individual, could assault a staff member, and he has now become a level 4 individual within 10 seconds of his lifetime.
People that don't work in a prison don't realize how dangerous it is in here, and a blink of an eye, something can go wrong. Blink of an eye, you can lose your life, or you can be crippled for life.
I mean, there's inmates that I don't know for 20 years. Even though we're friendly, we speak, they know me by first name, I know their first name. They walk up on me, I still want to know what they're doing.
The inmates who've been here over 20 years are lifers who may never leave. They came in as tough young prisoners and lived amid the violence that continues even now. Officer Darlene Feist is still adapting to working behind the walls of Folsom.
I'm not used to being around violence when I started, not that. It really shocked me how cruel and emotionless these people can be.
It does get scary sometimes. You hear a lot of the war stories from around here. I've been stabbed. I've had my knee broke.
Had back injury first, stabbed.
I was assaulted by an inmate in handcuffs.
I was stabbed 7 times.
If you show the inmates fear, then they're going to go ahead and feed on it.
Keeping that fear in control can be difficult inside this 100-year-old prison, because what was state-of-the-art at the turn of
I mean, look how dark and gloomy that place looks. That is ridiculous, man. You don't want to go there. It looks like a dungeon. Like, it's dark and miserable. A place that you go, and if you make it out, you are never the same. But perhaps you will not even make it out. It looks like a place you go into and just never come out. Think about this before you can commit a crime. Not after, but before.
Previous century is now the biggest challenge to the officer's safety. Folsom State Prison is more than 120 years old, and as a result, the facilities are a patchwork of prison technology. For example, arriving inmates are kept track of by a modern computer database. while officers on duty keep track of their weapons and keys by using a more low-tech method. Some inmates will be housed in World War II-era cell blocks where each tier is visible from the ground floor. Others will do their time in the dungeon-like confinement of Cell Block 5. It's a place where the sun never shines.
You become a walking dead man in here.
Yeah, look at it. Look how bad it looks. Look how the sun never shines. Cell Block 5. Yeah, I see no sun, no windows. Just dark and gloomy. Melancholy, miserable. The individuals in there, it's hard to be strong in a situation like that. Probably can't even read a book. There's no light. It's just a straight dungeon. Horrible, horrific conditions for a human being to try to live through and survive. And then make it home unscathed, make it home in one piece, make it home sane. Good luck living like this, regardless of what you may have done to get there. Still a human being.
You understand what I'm saying? You're a walking dead man. Really don't nobody see you, and it's like the old saying goes, out of sight, out of mind.
33-year-old inmate Herman Johnson is doing 12 years for a felony drug conviction. He is currently housed in Cell Block 5.
Being here, you lose a lot of things on the outside, and you really find out a lot about people, about coming to prison, you know?
Paul Poplin has been to prison several times over the last 10 years for drugs and fighting.
You know, this is a big cell, actually, because, you know, the way it's situated with the toilet over here, and yeah, there ain't much to them. You know, I guess it ain't that bad here. You know, could be worse. Been in worse.
Like being in a cage, basically. That's why I try and stay out as much as possible, you know what I mean? I go out to the yard, and then when I come back from eating, I try and avoid my unlock. That way I'm only in there from 8:30 at night till about 7:30 in the morning. And then I'm out the rest of the day.
Donald Avila is serving a 4-month sentence for parole violation.
Just a bunch of guys living together. Somebody's going to get on your nerves, and you're going to get on somebody's nerves one of these days, you know what I mean?
Inmate Johnson recalls his first experience with prison violence after going to general population, commonly referred to as the main line.
When I hit the main line, maybe 2 weeks. Not even a good 2 weeks. Big riot jumped off, and I saw a lot of stickings and everything, and it was crazy.
And we do have a lot of blind spots. Made it a little bit difficult for us as far as observation if in fact when something happened, such as a riot or we had some type of altercation. The officers are at the end of the tiers for visibility, however, still makes it difficult in reference to observations, especially 150 yards down the tiers.
Sergeant Rudy Carmona supervises Cell Block 5, one of the oldest operating prison structures in the United States.
To walk up to a cell, to look, to see what is going on, he has to sometimes look inside. So it puts us a close proximity to...
And it refers to the mainline structure as a World War II structure. What the... Cell Block 5, as we can see. Wow. This is inhumane. This is horrible. This looks like somewhere they would try to keep prisoners of war or something. This is how they see out of the door, these little holes right here. This is the door. A straight dungeon they are in. You have to be extremely strong to survive something like this. World War II structure. This is the main line that has the World War II structure.
Whomever is inside here, and sometimes could be dangerous. He could spear you through these holes, and they just make the antiquated type out of a rolled newspaper with a blade at the end of it, and very simply could be done that, stabbed in the face, and the side, and so forth.
Officers in newer prisons avoid the hazard of getting close to inmate doors.
The newer prisons are now all automated with button control. One officer could actually control up to 100, 200 cell doors at one given time. Here in this unit, every individual door has to be opened by key. Every single door.
The doors must be locked and unlocked several times a day as inmates are released to the yard. To do so, 2 staff officers snake their way through narrow passageways and the central corridor, 160 yards long. In the process, they can find themselves surrounded by hundreds of inmates.
There's too many inmates out. We're just on hold right now. Chow hold only. And try to keep it minimal in that dog run to how many inmates are in there, so we keep a clear path if something does happen to where we can get through.
I believe that the number one skill you really need in here is communication skills. If you can't communicate with these inmates, then you're going to have problems. As this is an old facility, this is not electric power doors, it's all key. And we're walking these tiers with hundreds of inmates every day. And these officers are face to face with these inmates.
Inmates can change just like that. And so you can't let your guard down.
Warden Diana Butler knows the importance of communicating with inmates. She's only one of 11 female wardens in California, and with 20 years of service, she knows what to look for.
One thing you develop when you work here is how to read the inmates. If you go on to an exercise yard, a lot of times they will have magazines inside of their jackets. And of course, that is to stop any potential violence, such as stab wounds or something. And if they appear nervous, then you know you better bring some other officers over and kind of find out what's happening and why are they nervous.
And that's why inmates are watched and counted all day long.
Right now we're having a major movement. We're having our main yard come in. In this particular building, this is daily, 7 days a week, every day.
To prevent escape, inmates return 5 times a day to be counted, just as it was done a century ago, one man at a time.
BB1! Standing count! BB2! Standing count!
76 on both.
That's complete hell. This is hell on earth. Or as they refer to Folsom State Prison, the end of the earth. Looks like it. Look at this. Just look at the cell doors and how inhumane and dehumanizing it looks like to be inside on the other side of that welded down cell door, that big, heavy metal cell door with this holes in it. You can just tell that inside on the other side of that cell door is life in hell. It's hell on earth existing like this for years. No way. Prison is emotionless. It is treacherous. These individuals are violent because of prison politics, of course, but also because of the conditions. These conditions lead to violence.
It's time for us to break the cycle of that stuff. It's time for us to begin to realize and know who we are. Amen?
Each inmate at Folsom must find his own way of surviving physically and emotionally in this environment.
It's like being set down in front of a mirror and made look at yourself all day, every day. And usually, having gotten yourself in here, there's not going to be anything in that reflection you want to see.
A lot of people don't know how to do time. A lot of people come here and think they can play. That's their perception, you know what I'm saying? But the concept is to do time. Don't let time do you.
After you get used to it, you know, you get programmed to how the system runs. But at first, it's kind of hard, you know.
Inmates refer to this process of survival and rehabilitation in prison as their program.
Basically, you know, you got to do something. You got to have some sort of program, you know what I mean?
Everybody here know how to program, you know what I'm saying? This is a programmable tier.
The main thing for me from day to day is to work to improve myself. Because this is a correctional facility, and I'm here for correction. And it's kind of hard to be in a situation like this because not everybody here is for correction. Not everybody here understands the meaning of correction. So when you're trying to change your life, you have maybe others around you that don't want to change their life. And it's kind of a struggle between, evil and good, evil and good.
It's tough being your own person in an environment like this, not to be sucked into the negativity. The saying, misery loves company, is so fit for this environment.
Kindness, compassion, caring inside the institution, it's a weakness.
They don't care about somebody's feelings. That's why they're in here. That's why they're in here, because of what they did on the outside and what they did to somebody else.
Part of their program for self-rehabilitation means contemplating their crime.
That's a before, this is an after.
Charles Williams was only 27 years old when he arrived. As seen through his prison ID cards, serving 21 years of a life sentence has taken its toll.
A bar fight that got out of hand, led out into the parking lot, and I beat a man to death. I mean, it was a senseless crime. I was drinking, he was drinking, and I just took it too far. He didn't deserve that.
Nobody could make an accurate assessment of me without getting to know me. I mean, I am a clean-cut guy. I'm not a troublemaker, but you can't honestly know that till you get to have a chance to sit down and talk with me and know me. Just by looking at me, I don't know, everybody thought Ted Bundy was a really swell-looking cat, but it turned out he was a freak.
Marty Allen, a former
Place just
firefighter,
looks
was convicted
horrible,
of
man.
second-degree murder. He's serving a life sentence and is not eligible for parole until
Look how crowded that yard is. But we know that the yard is going to be crowded because at this time, the timing of the filming of this video, the prison was twice its design capacity. They said that the prison was designed to hold 1,700 individuals, but instead has 3,200. Look how crowded the yard is right here. The riot that I just covered that they had in Folsom, there were 300 individuals on the yard at the time of the riot. 100 individuals involved in the riot. That's a lot of people because of the overcrowding. There are not supposed to be that many people on the yard. You don't even have space in some of these bunches to walk around, to move around, to exercise, to do anything because there are so many people there on the yard because of the overcrowding. They don't have a lot of these problems now because the law has sort of come down on some of this treatment inside of prison. But we can see, if you just think about it, why some of the violence, even the violence against the correctional officers, were taking place at this time.
2006.
If you saw me on the street in a suit, you'd never guess I'd been in prison. So you can't judge an individual by just looking at him. You have to get to know him, bottom line.
I was a bodybuilder, and I competed on a national level. I placed in the top 10 in Mr. California, also placed in the top 10 in Mr. USA. And when I came here, I started to realize that this is not me. This is not how I was raised. This is not how I was brought up.
But I choose, like I told my parents, I choose this lifestyle. You know what I mean? I don't blame them, I blame myself. I can't blame them, you know what I mean? Because out of 7 children, I'm the only one.
One mistake, no juvenile criminal history, no drinking in public or anything like that. One mistake, and all because I was being a follower and not a leader. I was an impressionable kid who just thought that he would never get in trouble.
Brian Tomasello has been at Folsom for 10 years. He was sentenced at the age of 21.
I committed a crime of kidnap robbery. Jewelry store owner went in to the home invasion, took the safe, and the purpose of the whole crime was to go to the jewelry store, and it didn't work out like that. And the guys, I was the youngest one in the crowd, so the most impressionable one. And the thing is I was basically the one who took the fall. So, if you can just, it's kind of, it's sad. I still get choked up thinking about it now because I wish I could just take everything back.
Brian Tomasello was sentenced to life. He is not eligible for parole until 2006. One of the most important aspects of prison life is time spent in the yard. At Folsom State Prison in California, over 1,000 inmates can be on the yard at any given time. It's a central meeting place where prisoners work out their aggressions and interact with other inmates. But it's also the flashpoint when violence breaks out, as witnessed while MSNBC's cameras were in the yard.
This is my life, state raised, federally funded. Treat us like slaves, man. Treat us like slaves up in here, man.
You see around here, it's like this every day.
Seeing people, getting shot, killed, riots and, melees and stuff like that. Like if you get somebody that's been an informant from your county, or a child molester or something, somebody in your car, that's your county, your local people, that are here in prison, you got to handle it. Somebody's got to handle it, or the whole car is shunned. Your whole car will be put on shine, on lame status.
Because Folsom's yard is the smallest prison yard in the state, no one is segregated. Members of the various prison gangs who are known to be enemies are forced to walk amongst each other.
If I can describe it and sum it up in one word, I would say it's like a big...
I just can't get over how many people are on this yard, packed in there like sardines, like they can't even walk. As he said, Folsom State Prison has the smallest yard in California, because I've never been to Folsom, but the yards are not this small in any other prison that I've been to. And I've been to many of them, unfortunately. This was just, this is dangerous. This would make for a volatile situation. So many people in the yard irritating each other in some way or another. And this is why things kick off like this. They're all bunched in together. No way. They said it can be upwards of 1,000 people in the yard at any given time. 1,000 people. Man, that's like a war. When it goes up, it kicks off. That's you at war.
Big toilet waiting to be flushed.
Come here, both of you. Hey, you two, come here. What building you in? What building you in? Okay, you go to 5-count gate, tell them you're going home. You go to 1-count gate, tell them you're going home. You don't do that on my yard. You know that. He threw an inappropriate sign denoting a praise of Nazism and promoting that type of racist behavior and attitude that we will not tolerate here. If we let our guard down for one moment and we stop observing and interacting, tension can rise, and we can have a very volatile situation here.
Oh, you can feel it. It's like electricity in the air. It's so thick you can actually breathe in the tension. And when that happens, you want to put yourself against a wall or put somebody behind.
It's just like I just said, just like I imagined. There's nothing but tension there on a yard. I would not want to be on a yard with that many individuals, that many inmates, in a violent place like Folsom, with the violent history, with many people having been deleted there in Folsom in the most brutal of fashions, been killed right there on this yard. And many people have gotten away with it because the yard is too small. You have no chance to even really defend yourself, to get away from a situation, to protect yourself. You're in trouble if they're coming after you with 1,000 people in the yard as small as that. I bet there is a lot of, I can just see the tension. Just looking at it, you can see the tension. But he says something's about to kick off there. Let's see, man.
Find that you can trust or just stay off in the corner.
In a blink of an eye, that much time it can change. That's why our staff is out here watching, interacting, and monitoring the attitudes and the, you might say, the temperature gauge of this yard and institution. Because there is the real threat that an attitude or temper can change in just a moment.
and tempers did flare while MSNBC's cameras were in the yard.
Well, we had two Northern Mexicans jumping on another Northern Mexican. It all stemmed over a disrespect issue. Yesterday, they beat him up over here in front of the art shack. The guy that beat him up was about the victim's age. This guy I know is in his 60s. Apparently, the Northern Mexicans felt business wasn't handled properly. So therefore, today they sent over guys about a third his age. The guys that beat him up today are probably early 20s, late teens. What you saw here today was actually in a battery. They were stomping his head. You can see he's pretty messed up. Lately, the Northern Mexicans have been acting up more so than any race on this yard, beating up their own over respect issues. Prison's about a lot of respect. When you're disrespected, situations like this take place.
As long as you have street gangs, you will always have prison gangs. These guys aspire to do that. Most individuals in free society would aspire to be doctors and lawyers. These guys don't think past tomorrow. They don't know what they're going to be doing a half hour from now. They aspire to.
Yeah, and respect is indeed the number one thing in prison, as I've said many times here on the channel. And oftentimes when someone is elderly, he looked a bit elderly, even though I believe they said that he was 60 years old, looked a little bit older, but they keep their hands off of him. For them to still attack him and to send individuals 1/3 his age, as they said, some young individuals, because they wanted to make sure they took care of business on this guy and got him down on the ground and stomped his head in. We saw the blood there. For them to attack him like that, something must have happened. Not to blame the victim, but he did something.
Be the shot callers, the leaders, the gang members. And just talking to these individuals at various times, I've posed that question. Why is it that you want to do this lifestyle? And basically it's because that's what they look up to.
The inmate who was attacked will survive because of quick response from prison staff on the yard.
They comply to your orders, they get down, you cuff them, bring them to the custody complex, interview them from there. If not, then sometimes force is used, baton, pepper spray. In this situation, there was no weapons involved, therefore the gunners didn't have a reason to shoot.
Yeah, that's why he survived, because the staff got there so quickly and saved him. Boy, they're crazy. Okay, we're going to make that part one. I'm going to do a part two. This is a pretty long video. And if you want me to, I'll do the rest of it. I'll do the next part to this. I'll finish it and make it a part two. Let me know in the comments. Seems pretty deep to me. It's mind-boggling, soul-shattering. Living in this sort of condition, you have to get out of there if you're in there and stay out if you are free. Do not want to live like this. Inside of these cells, Folsom is also known for having very small cells. Everything about it is small. It's small on the outside the yard, as we can see, 1,000 individuals on this very small yard. 1,000 individuals on this very small yard. That's ridiculous. That's unheard of. And the cells are also extremely small. In fact, I believe Folsom has the smallest cells in the California penal system. So it is just treacherous there and miserable. We see cell block 5. Can imagine even living like that. No light, no sunlight, nothing, no windows. Dark, gloomy at all times. Crowded, loud, dangerous, violent. Man, who wants to live like that? So-called mainline cell block is not much better with a World War II design. These prisons have a history, particularly a prison like Folsom, of being extremely dangerous and extremely treacherous. Just a place you just don't want to go. A place you don't want to be. A place you don't want to serve time at. They have level 2s there now, as we heard. They changed it from the level 4 design and made it a level 2, which has mitigated the violence because these are not level 4 inmates. But the violence and the threat of violence is still there. Level 2 inmates are not, particularly because the place is so gloomy. Most level 2s, they're inside of a dorm setting as it relates to the California penal system. In fact, Folsom may be the only level 2 that I can think of off the top of my head that has cell living. Most level 2s, again, you're going to be inside of a dorm, same as a level 1. They're level 2s, but because of this environment and the history of Folsom, still makes it a volatile situation with level 2 inmates. With the level 4 inmates, it's certainly going to be a deadly situation. You can see there they have virtually every group: Norteños, Sureños, Blacks, Crips, Bloods, Whites, whatever. Everyone is there on the yard, making it for a powder keg, really. It's just not a place that anyone should want to be. Stay out of there. Stay free, people. Stay out of prison. It's no good. I certainly went through hell in prison for many years. It was horrific. And I wanted out, and I wanted out badly. I wanted out of that place, man. Ooh-wee. I'll bring it all to you before it's all said and done. I have a lot more to bring to you about that place. Don't wish it on anyone. Stay out. It's not worth it. Think about the ending and not just the beginning. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It looks good in the beginning, but in the end, you live a life of turmoil. It takes 20 seconds. I'm going to leave you with this. I've said it many times here on the channel. It takes 20 seconds to get in trouble, but it takes 20 years to get out of trouble. It does. It takes 20 seconds to get into trouble, but it takes 20 years to get out of it or more. Think about that before you do something. Stay safe and stay free, people.